Now investigators of Valley Homes searched in connection to the Tupac Shakur murder investigation nearly 27 years after his death.
Metro Police confirming they searched a home as part of their ongoing work to solve who killed the rapper and hip-hop icon.
When Tupac passed, the world froze. But behind the tears and candlelight, the cops were moving fast. Real fast. Because they weren't just mourning a rapper. They were staring at a mystery that smelled like trouble. When investigators finally stepped into Tupac's garage, nobody expected what came next. And that's where things went left in a way most fans still don't fully grasp. This wasn't some dusty storage space with random junk laying around. This place looked like a silent time capsule packed with clues, tension, and unanswered questions. Boxes were stacked tight, some sealed, some half open like they'd been rushed shut. And right away, officers noticed items that didn't match the peaceful image people painted after his death. There were handwritten notes everywhere, not neat letters, but frantic scribbles, angry lines, and half-finished thoughts that felt raw, emotional, and unfinished, like Tupac knew time was running out. Some notes talked about betrayal, others hinted at people watching him, following him, plotting on him. And that alone made cops pause because it lined up with whispers Tupac had been saying out loud before everything went dark.
Sources telling Bay News Now investigators this search involves Dwayne Davis, also known as Keef D. Davis speaking publicly about the night Tupac died in videos on YouTube and in a book. 25-year-old Tupac Shakur shot 4 times inside this BMW in this intersection near the Las Vegas Strip in September 1996. He would die from his injuries 6 days later.
Then came the personal stuff, the kind that makes investigators uncomfortable, journals detailing paranoia, stress, and pressure from every direction, industry beef, street tension, and legal drama all crashing into one man at once, and it didn't stop there. They reportedly found unreleased music tapes stacked in crates, songs nobody had ever heard, lyrics that sounded like warnings, confessions, and even straight-up predictions that now feel eerie as hell. Some tracks allegedly talked about fake friends, backdoor deals, and enemies hiding behind smiles, and when cops read through those lyrics, it raised serious eyebrows. This wasn't just art, it felt like testimony. Then there were the things nobody likes to talk about out loud, items that didn't fit the public image at all, stuff that suggested Tupac was preparing for something big or maybe something bad. Officers reportedly logged multiple burner phones, not 1 or 2, but several, each labeled differently, which immediately screamed secrecy. Why would someone at his level need that many phones unless he was moving carefully, watching his back, or trying to stay one step ahead of somebody? There were also documents connected to business deals that never went public, contracts unsigned, others marked up aggressively, names crossed out like he changed his mind at the last second. Some of those papers hinted at him planning to break away completely, not just from labels, but from people he felt were poisoning his space. And here's where it gets real unsettling. Tucked away in one corner, cops allegedly found a small stash of items meant for protection. Nothing flashy, nothing dramatic, just enough to suggest he didn't feel safe even at home. That alone shattered the idea that Tupac was fearless till the end, because fearless people don't prepare like that.
Vanessa Murphy speaking exclusively with paramedics in 2016.
We brought the gurney up,
over,
just pulled them out.
pulled them out, and that's when, everybody was yelling Tupac.
It's happening, and he says he hopes it'll bring some more closure to the case.
I didn't think there'd ever be any more steps taken in this case.
The garage told a different story, one of a man under siege, carrying the weight of fame, money, loyalty tests, and constant threats all at once. Investigators reportedly left that space knowing one thing for sure: Tupac wasn't just a victim of random chaos. He was living inside a storm that had been building for a long time. Every box, every note, every tape painted a picture of someone trying to stay ahead of danger while still speaking his truth loudly. And what shocked everyone wasn't just what was found, but what it implied. That Tupac knew more than he ever got the chance to say, and that his silence after death might be louder than anything he dropped while alive. And the deeper cops dug, the heavier the energy got, because the garage didn't feel like a random storage spot anymore. It felt like a man's last line of defense. Every item told a story, and none of them sounded peaceful. Investigators reportedly noted how organized everything was. Not sloppy, not careless, but calculated, like Tupac knew exactly where things were and why they mattered. That alone crushed the narrative that he was reckless or unaware, because this was someone moving with intention, even while the world thought he was just wilding out.
It's 27 years old. I can tell you exactly why it happened. It's happened because of Keithy D running his mouth.
Probably didn't really know it was going to have any historical significance. At that point, it was fixed and then sold to the general public, probably at an auction, something like that.
Some of the notes allegedly referenced meetings that never happened, sit-downs that were canceled last minute, and people who suddenly went silent when he tried to reach out. That pattern raised alarms because it suggested doors were closing around him fast. There were also dates circled over and over again, timelines cops couldn't immediately connect to anything official, which made them wonder what Tupac was counting down to or preparing for. What really shook investigators was the emotional shift in the writings. Early notes were fiery, confident, full of that familiar Pac energy, but as time went on, the tone darkened. The words got heavier, more suspicious, more defensive, like he was slowly realizing that not everyone smiling in his face wanted him alive. Some pages allegedly mentioned trust being a trap, loyalty being fake, and power coming with a price nobody warns you about. And when cops laid those pages out side by side, it didn't look like random thoughts. It looked like a man connecting dots in real time. Then there were voice memos found on old devices, raw recordings of Tupac talking freely, venting, thinking out loud, sometimes calm, sometimes heated.
But recently, Keithy D has written a book and made TV appearances detailing his involvement in Tupac's death.
Bragging that he's the one who handed Orlando Anderson a gun, and subsequently that gun is used to shoot Tupac.
In a few of those recordings, he reportedly talked about feeling boxed in, saying certain people wanted control over him, his money, and his voice. That part alone made the room go quiet because it lined up with so many rumors that had been brushed off while he was alive. The garage also held reminders of how fast his life was moving. Suitcases already packed, not like vacation bags, but go bags, the kind you keep ready when you don't know how long you'll stay in one place. That detail didn't sit right with cops at all. Why would someone with mansions and security feel the need to stay ready to move at a moment's notice? It screamed instability, pressure, and fear hiding behind fame. And yet, mixed in with all that tension were reminders of his heart. Photos of family, old friends, and notes about projects meant to uplift his community, plans that never saw daylight.
So he's openly saying that he's, a significant part of this whole murder. How many times are you going to go on TV and say that before somebody's going to have to take some sort of action? If they can match him up and say, wow, these are the same type of rounds that are in Tupac, obviously that kicks things up considerably. Will that happen? I think probably not 26 years later, but certainly it's something that they're going to have to take a look at.
That contrast made everything hit harder because it showed he wasn't just surviving, he was still dreaming, still planning a future, even while danger circled him. By the time investigators wrapped up their work, one thing was crystal clear. The garage shattered the simple story people wanted to believe. This wasn't just a tragic end to a loud life. This was the fallout of a man who saw too much, said too much, and stood too tall in spaces that don't forgive that. What cops found didn't give them all the answers, but it raised questions that still haunt the case today. Questions about who knew what, who benefited from his silence, and why so many warnings were ignored. The shock wasn't about guns or chaos, it was about awareness. Tupac wasn't blind to the danger, he felt it closing in, and the garage proved he was preparing, thinking, and protecting himself in ways most fans never imagined. And that truth still sits heavy because it means the story didn't end in that garage, it was already written there, piece by piece, long before the world lost his voice.